Hello, I'm Becky Dowd, and this is The Journey to Salvation. Join me as we walk alongside real people and hear the unique journeys that led them to faith in Jesus. My guest today is René Riddle. Hey, René.
Hi, Becky.
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming in. We're kind of recording this a little bit late in the day. You've had a long day of work, and I appreciate you coming in during this time.
Of course.
So René, I've known you just for a few years, I think, and we'll get into that a little bit more as you tell your story, but why don't you just give us a little bit of information about your life growing up? You're very young, so yes. You're 20?
20. So,
this podcast might take 10 minutes. No. You're very young, but you do have quite a bit of life that you've lived already.
Yes.
And so anyway, so just share your story with us.
I was born in Texas, San Antonio, and I grew up, I would say with my mom mostly, but sometimes we would live with my grandma and my aunt. But when we lived with my grandma, she is Jehovah's Witness. So we would go to her church, and I have one vivid memory of, I had this big old dress, and anyway, so we went there, and I was really young, but I think I only went once. And then fast forward, we stopped living with my grandma, and my mom, she really wasn't too big on religion. She was, the type to not really believe in anything. And then we lived next to a Mexican lady, like real Mexican, authentic from Mexico. And she had this statue called Santa Muerte. And it's a statue that Mexican people, Hispanic people, they worship. And my mom, she got one from the lady, and she started worshiping it. And she would tell us all the time, worship this thing, pray to it. And I'm like 8 years old. So I'm like, I don't really know about that.
Was that a saint, or was it?
I think it's called the Angel of Death, but I can't be too sure. I just know the name is Santa Muerte.
Yeah.
And it's like a Hispanic, Mexican, Spanish thing that.
Right. Okay.
So she had one. I didn't really pay attention to it much because I was still young. And then we moved to Arkansas in, I believe, 2016 or 15. And she got into witchcraft. And she was a pagan. And she had all these statues like Baphomet, and it was like this half man, half goat statues and all these things. And then she started collecting more Santa Muerte statues. She had a white one, a black one, a red one, and I think a rainbow one. And she would always tell us, like, God's not real. Don't believe in God. Pray to this. And, and I was a kid. I didn't really think of anything, and I didn't really pray. I did
sort of
not
ignored it.
Yeah, I ignored it because it was, anyways. So she would tell us to worship it, but I didn't really believe in God. But I didn't also not believe in God. I didn't know that God was a person, or over all of us. But I didn't like.
You never been to a church or anyone?
Yeah, I didn't reject it. I didn't. Yeah. I wasn't opposed to it.
Right.
So, fast forward to 2018.
So let's back up a minute. So you have how many siblings?
I have 5 that I grew up with.
Okay.
At 5.
And then are you the oldest?
I'm the second oldest.
Okay.
So a lot of things happened, and we got taken into DHS care.
René, what led to DHS removing you from the house with your mom?
We used to go to a church in Little Rock called Pleasant Valley Church. And a minister there took us in. We were living in the woods before then, and he had found us. And he said he had bought us a hotel. And
So your mom and your siblings were living in the woods in like a tent?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he had told my mom all we had to do was go to church for them to provide a home for us. So he had provided a home for us, and it was in Rose City in North Little Rock, kind of a little bit outside of North Little Rock. And so he was telling her, come to church and, start looking for a job. And she didn't do either one of those things. He would come and pick us up for church, us kids, and we would go. And before we would leave the house, she would always say, don't listen to what they're saying. And I would always tell my siblings, like, don't listen to her. Like, don't listen to her.
She was practicing witchcraft at that time?
She kind of had faded a little bit from it. But she wasn't really, you could really tell she wasn't in a good state of mind.
Was she using drugs?
She was, as far as I know, in that time, she was only smoking marijuana. She was only smoking weed, as far as I know, which I couldn't really tell a difference. So I didn't really know. But so she would always tell us not to listen. And at some point, farther down the line, the person that owned the house wanted to sell it. And so we had to move out. And she didn't know where we were going. We ended up going to her friend's house, which was really unstable. Like, it was I think when DHS picked us up, the cops had said, this is a hazard to live in this home. So we had moved just a little bit down the street. It was like all the way down the street at the end of the road. And you take a left, and just a little bit down that road, there was another house. And we had moved there. And I don't think we really had any heat, if I can remember. But it was summertime, so it didn't matter. We had AC. But we would all stay on one bed. No furniture, just one mattress. She didn't really cook. Like I said, I was the one to cook, but I
You were 13?
Yeah, but we couldn't really because there was no heat. There was no gas. There was no gas. So we couldn't really eat hot food. It was just always cold or uncooked ramen or like chili or tuna, stuff like that. So we had moved down there, and she didn't have a job. She didn't have money. We didn't have money. We were kids. And she had sent us to the store. She said, grab some bags, go to the store, and bring back some food. And so we're walking down to Dollar General, or I think it was a Dollar General and a Family Dollar, and then a grocery store right on the same strip. And so we went to the Dollar Tree first, and we put some stuff in our bags, and then we went to the Family Dollar, and we were putting stuff in our bags. And right as we're walking out, the cashier was like, do y'all have something in your bag? And I said, no, I don't have nothing in my bag. It's still pretty flat. Wasn't, but then we just got off of school. And she was like, I need to see y'all's bags. And so she opens the bags, and then she calls the cops. So the cops come in, and we started running. And it's a, if I had a map, it's probably a mile or two to get back to the house. And so we're cutting through fields, like we cut through a park and a field, like a soccer field. Then we're cutting through some neighborhoods, and we run behind a house, and then we come from outside the back of that house, and we kind of start jogging towards the house we were staying at. And then the cops had pulled up beside us. They didn't have their sirens or the lights on, so we didn't know. We were walking, and they had pulled up behind us. And they said, "Where y'all going?" And we kind of were like, this is who we're running from. So we kind of started running a little bit. And then, so we get in the car, and they take us back to the police station, and they get us some pizza, and we're scarfing it down. I mean, we hadn't eaten in probably a day or 2 or 3. Wow. I mean, may have been a day or a week. Who knows? I don't know. But so I don't think they call my mom. We kind of told them where we stayed, and they went down to get my mom. We told them that she didn't have a phone or a car. So they go and get her. And she comes, and she's like, "Oh, my babies, my babies." And she's kind of like, she didn't know that we were going to the store to steal. She had told us, but she was making it seem like she didn't know. And so she was like kind of scolding us, like, "Don't do that. You know, I raised y'all better," and kind of putting on the front for the cops.
Yeah. So
we go back to the house, and the next day the cops are knocking on the door, and they're talking to my mom, and then they step aside, and the DHS care worker, and she was talking to her, and then they left, and then they came back the next day and did a drug test on my mom, and they said that she had tested positive for methamphetamines and marijuana. They told her, "We're taking your kids." And she starts crying. And she's like, just grab. She tells me, grab a blanket and you're going with them. And I said, "What about Tony?" That was my older brother. He wasn't there. I said, "What about Tony?" And she said, "Don't worry about Tony." I said, "Where are we going?" And she said, "You're going with them." And I said, we all start crying. We're like, "We don't want to go with them." I mean, which is kind of funny looking back at it. Like, we're going,
because you were hungry and living in a house that
taking cold showers and stuff, and didn't want to go with them anyways. So we're all crying, and we end up going with them, going to the DHS office, and she was telling us, "I'm going to get you back. I'm going to get you back."
Were you ever with her after that point?
No. I don't think we had any visits until like later that year, because they said she wasn't doing the programs. She wasn't getting clean, and she wasn't doing the programs, and sometimes they couldn't even contact her. And then we started doing visits, and she had pulled me to the side. I think this was like a little bit before I had Maya. She pulled me to the side and said, "They told me I have to stop smoking weed, and I'm not going to stop smoking weed." She said, "They told me to stop smoking weed to get y'all back, and I don't to get clean. And she said, I don't want to stop smoking weed. And so in my mind, I was like, so you don't want to get us back? And I told her, so you're not getting us back? And she said, yes, I am. I said, you're not getting us back if you don't stop. Mm-hmm. She said, yes, I am. I'm getting y'all back. And so she would always tell my siblings she was getting us back. But I knew she was not. Mm-hmm. There was no way they were going to give us back to her. And she wasn't getting clean, didn't have a job. I mean, we would just be right back in the position we were already in. But she would always tell my siblings, like, I'm getting y'all back. I'm working on it. And I would just sit there and be like, you're lying. I wouldn't say anything because I didn't want to crush their spirit. But I was like, why is she lying? Yeah. She's just lying to them.
And I just think about how your life would have been had you stayed there. All of y'all stayed there with her, and she wasn't willing to change any of those things to give you a life of safety and security. And because you said that when you were, whenever they picked you up, y'all were all malnourished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were all really skinny. I mean, me and one of my brothers, we were not as skinny as the rest, but we were all still skinny. And I wouldn't say like you could see our bones, but you could tell that we didn't eat 3 times a day.
Yeah. Or even eat every day.
Yeah. And if we did, it was, something small or like tuna or bologna sandwiches. Mm-hmm. I hate bologna now. I hate it. It was always that, or like my siblings would put the ramen noodle sauce on top of uncooked ramen and just eat it.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes we would just eat like cold cans of food, like Fajita sausages and stuff like that. But it was never a lot because it was a lot of us.
Right.
We hardly took showers because the water was cold.
Yeah.
And my first placement was a group home with a whole bunch of girls in Conway for one night. And then we moved to Monticello at Arkansas Baptist Children's Home. And we went to church all the time to the First Baptist there. I didn't really pay attention. Like,
how old were you at that time?
I was 13.
Okay.
I was 13. I didn't pay attention because I just didn't really understand. And I was so new and shy, and I just don't like change, which is really funny because there's a lot of change in my life.
Yeah.
But, so fast forward just a little bit, I found out I was pregnant, and I was like shooken because I was like, obviously everyone knows how people, like a woman gets pregnant. So I didn't get pregnant by consent. And when I found out, it was like, I was scared because I was 13. And obviously I had raised my siblings, but raising your own child is so much more different.
So tell me about raising your siblings.
I can't remember that I raised my first little brother, but I remember raising my 3 younger siblings. Like, I would take them baths and change their diapers, feed them, and then once they got older, I would watch them. My mom wasn't really home. She was always working or just partying.
Yeah.
It was me and my older brother taking care of our younger siblings all the time.
And gosh, you were not very old at that time because your sisters are just, 4 or 5 years younger than you?
Yeah. Took care of them a lot. And then when my brother turned 16, he kind of just started hanging out with his friends more. So he wasn't home as much. And so it was always me taking care of them. And I would cook for them. make sure the laundry was done, clean all the time. I love to clean, but I think that's why I love to clean is because I had to do it all the time. But yeah, so I found out I was pregnant, and the couple I lived with kind of was a little bit like, I don't want her in my house. So they didn't tell me that, but later on I found that out.
Were your siblings with you, or were you alone in the house?
It was my 2 younger sisters and then me in that group home because it was girls and boys.
Okay.
They couldn't be mixed.
So you were still in the group home at that time?
No, I was at the Arkansas Baptist Children's Home. We were there all together, but girls had to be in one house. Like it all had to be girls in one house. And then the boys were in another house. So then fast forward a little bit, we all moved into a house with this younger couple. And I can't remember if I was staying with my sisters or with all my siblings, but I can't remember. But I went to church camp, Siloam Springs, and I had been listening in church. After I got to know people, I actually started listening and praising. And I remember the first song I sang was that I really actually learned was Reckless Love. And so we went to church camp, and I was already praying before then. I was like, I can't do this because even though my mom wasn't the best mom, I still wanted her. Like, I was still searching for that longing. And then my older brother, he was a really big part of my life. And so not living with them anymore kind of hurt me. Like, living with them hurt me, but living without them hurt me more. Yeah. Because that's what I knew. And so when I went to church camp, I was like, I just felt this, I don't know. I just felt like I needed something. Because I was so sad. And I had all my siblings, but I was kind of depressed, but it was masked. So when I went to church camp, he was talking, and then I think the second night I was like, I want to get saved. And so I talked to the director of the group home we were living at because he had went. And I said, I want to get saved. I want to give my life to Jesus. I feel like I don't have anybody. And if everyone says that Jesus is by your side, if God is by your side your whole life, if you give your life to him, I want that. Like, I don't have anybody. And so I got saved that night.
Let me interrupt you for just a second because I, too, gave my life to the Lord at Siloam Springs.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was in 8th grade.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I did want you to know that.
Wow. That's amazing. So I got saved, and I got baptized, like, I think that summer, a few months after. I kind of didn't really understand what I was supposed to be doing. Like, I didn't understand when people said, live a holy life, because I'm like, I'm 14. What am I doing that's not holy? You know, I was going to school, and I didn't really do anything after school. I just sat around with my siblings or went outside or was in bed because I was pregnant and tiny, exhausted. So, I guess I didn't really understand what I was supposed to be doing. But we always stayed in church, no matter what. We always found a church. After that, we moved to Valonia, outside of Searcy, with that same couple that we lived with in the group home. And we went to a church in Kensett, and it was a really good church. They were really welcoming. And then we moved to Conway to be adopted, and it didn't work out for me. And so then, but we didn't go to church there. They were an older couple, and I think they believed in God. I couldn't really tell. And then I moved to Yaleville. It really small, outside of Mountain Home. And we went to church there all the time. It was a group home, a mixed group home.
So did your siblings pretty much, y'all all stayed together in these group homes?
We stayed together until we went to Conway. And then I left. And then my brother left. And then it was just the 3 younger kids together. And they were supposed to get adopted there. But things didn't work out. I went to Yaleville, and we went to church all the time. And in our Sunday mornings church, I kind of always prayed that I would find like what I'm supposed to be doing, like as a Christian, as a believer. Because I was reading my Bible, but I was like, I don't really understand. And when we went to church, that was it. Like after church, no one ever talked about God. No one ever said, "Hey, let's pray," or
You didn't really have that discipleship.
yeah. And so I knew I was saved, and I knew I was baptized, but I didn't really have a relationship with God as far as praying and being in the Word all the time. But I did understand whenever people would read stories of the Bible. So after I moved to Yaleville, I think I stayed there for half a year. And then I came here. It was one day. It was rough in Yaleville. Goodness. Every time I moved home, in Conway I moved because the lady was trying to tell me how to raise my daughter. And I had one rule. Don't tell me how to raise my daughter. Life has lifed me, and I feel like I've done pretty good with her. And so I was like, don't tell me how to.
You were used to raising your sisters and brother, so you did have some experience as far as that goes.
Yes. And so we got in this big old argument, and then I left Conway. And then same thing happened in Yaleville. One morning, they were like, pack some clothes. I was like, where are we going? 3-hour drive. And I'm like, I don't know where we're going. And then the caseworker told me about an hour away from here. She was like, we're going to Jamie to see Jamie. And I said, Jamie who? Jamie Okochko. And it didn't really ring, but forgot to mention this. When I lived in Valonia, that's when I met Jamie. She was my connected care agent. And so I knew Jamie. And then we got disconnected when we moved to Conway. So I was like, am I going to go live with Jamie? And so that's what I'm thinking the whole time over here. And so we get here, and I see Jamie, and I'm excited, and she's excited. And then she tells me there's a home that you're going to. And I said, oh. Because I was a little disappointed because I really didn't want to move with people I didn't know anymore.
Yeah.
It was hard. And then I think it was around 5 or 6, and I meet my parents now. And we sit down on the couch and we're just talking. And the first thing I said was, no. Sarah had asked me, what's one thing that you don't want? And I said, I don't want someone to tell me how to raise my kid. And she said, okay. And I said, okay. And so we went from there. And then we came to this church, and I really liked it. It was really different from a Baptist church. Mm-hmm. It was small, and I wasn't used to small churches.
Let me back up a second. So whenever you went to Sarah and Tyler's house, mm-hmm. were you there just to be in a foster home, or were they hoping to foster and to adopt?
It was just supposed to be a foster home until I aged out. Okay. Because my plan was to age out. I was like, I don't want to. I just want to age out.
Okay. And be in one spot and...
Yes.
Right. So why didn't you want to be adopted?
Because I felt like I wasn't really connecting with anybody.
Yeah.
And for a moment there, I kind of just didn't want to build another relationship with somebody and then leave again.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Because you were in quite a few different homes and group homes.
Yeah.
And moved around a lot.
Yeah. After the first adoption failed, I kind of was like, I don't want to get adopted.
Yeah. Didn't want to go through that heartache again.
Yeah. So when we came to this church, I really liked it because it was small and you got to know everybody and everyone was so welcoming. And they were just like, I heard a lot about you. And I'm just a little shy old girl with her kid hanging on her hip.
Because you were only 14, right?
I think I was.
Were you 15 by then?
Let me see. I think I was 15.
Okay. And Maya was, I think Jamie said that she was 9 months whenever you came here. Is that right?
No, I think that was SJ. Maya was 3. I think she was just turning 3 because it was the year of 23.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was just turning 3. So I was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
So I really liked the church because it was welcoming and it was small and you got to know everybody. And you didn't feel like you were just thrown into a crowd and didn't really know where to go. And then Sarah was part of the church. Mm-hmm. So that made me feel a lot better. And then I started going to Wednesday night church.
The youth group.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I got really close with Adriana. Mm-hmm. And she would always pray for me. And I guess that's when I really started working on my relationship with God. And we went to church camp. Mm-hmm. And I really felt like, okay, I need to be for real about this now. I need to start working on my relationship with God, because without a relationship, then it's just,
it's nothing.
It's nothing. I don't know. I just really felt like I needed to start working on it. And so when we came back home, I didn't. Like, life went back to normal, and I went back to school, and I think I would read my Bible sometimes, but it wasn't like always a constant thing, like every day, praying every day. So I guess I was trying, but not really. Mm-hmm.
You were quite busy though with school, and then
Maya,
and being with the family.
Mm-hmm. And then I think soon after that, my mom and dad had put their house on the market, or they were selling it, and then we moved to a trailer. I think that's where I started working. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't working for the government. I was working for myself. I cleaned houses. I used to clean a lot of people's houses. So I was really busy. But I still read my Bible some.
So you're calling them your mom and dad.
Yes.
So you decided to be adopted by them.
Yes. It was...
How long were you there before you decided you did want to be adopted?
Less than a year. It was less than a year that I wanted to be adopted. And she said, if you want to be adopted, we will adopt you. And I was kind of like, Whoa, I don't think I really like that answer because it was like, if you want to be adopted, then we'll adopt you. It's not like I want to adopt you.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I don't really know about it now. And so I had thought about it some, and then I had told her, like, I don't really like that answer. Like, I kind of feel like it's one-sided. And she said, no, it's more like we're giving you a choice. Like, we're not going to force you to be adopted if you don't want to be adopted. We want to adopt you, but if you don't want it, then we're not going to open that door. Mm-hmm. And so then I really understood, like, okay. And then I got, my adoption date it's sometime in November of 23. And then we had went to church camp again that next year. And I didn't feel anything. I was struggling. I was praying, and we were doing our quiet time, and I couldn't think of anything. Like, my mind would just wander. And I would just pray, like, God, why am I not hearing you? Like, the first time I came to church camp, I felt the Holy Spirit. I felt your presence. I wanted to worship. I wanted to read my Bible. I wanted to do my studies. And this time, I'm just not feeling anything. I don't feel connected to you. And I guess I was just expecting, like, that feeling every time I went to church camp. And it kind of, like, it kind of was like, am I really saved? I was kind of questioning it, like, am I really for God? Like, is this my purpose to follow God? Mm-hmm. Obviously it is. But I was questioning it then, because I was like, when you're in church camp, I thought, like, when you go to church camp, you're supposed to feel it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't. And I think I had prayed. It was one night I was laying in bed, in the bunk bed, and I started crying. And I was praying. I was like, why can I not feel you? I can't hear you. I can't feel you. I don't want to go to these groups. I don't want to be here. I want to go back home. Mm-hmm. And so it was like that the whole week. And when we got back home, I had told Jamie, we were talking about something, and I said, I don't know why, but I couldn't feel the Holy Spirit at church camp, and I couldn't after that for a while. I couldn't really feel his presence, and I guess it kind of discarded me, because that was my expectation every time I went to church, or every time I went to church camp or read my Bible. And she had told me something like, just because you don't feel it doesn't mean he's not there. And I said, why can't I not feel it if he's here? And she said, what you're feeling is the Holy Spirit. And we can feel that, but you're not going to feel it all the time. You're not going to feel like God is there all the time, but you're supposed to have faith that he is there all the time. She had said something like that. I don't want to quote her and be wrong, but she had said something along those lines. And I said, okay. And so I started praying again. And I started reading my Bible a little bit more. And I'm going to be honest, I couldn't pray. I kind of still can't, but I was in the mindset of God already knows, so I don't need to pray. He already knows my problems. He already knows what I'm thankful for. He already knows what I want. He can read my mind all the time, so what's the point of praying? And I think someone had told me, like, just because he knows everything doesn't mean he doesn't want you to talk to him. Like, when you talk to somebody, you're building that relationship. And I was like, I really don't know how to pray, though. Like, what do I say? And there's no specific way how to pray. I know that now. Like, now I just be praying in the car. Yeah. Like, God, please. praying for these drivers here. But back then I was like, I don't need to pray. But I was reading my Bible. I was praying some, and I would pray thanking him. I would never pray for my needs. Like, God, help me with this. I would always just pray to thank him. Mm-hmm. I really started working on it. So 24 was really rough because I did start reading my Bible and I did start praying, but not faithfully. And then starting 25, I was like, okay, I need to do this year. Like, this is what I need to do. And 25 was a little rough because I think I had just turned 18. I was turning 18 that year. And so I thought I was grown. And me and my parents' relationship was really rocky that year. And so I was kind of not really feeling like praying. So it was a rough season. I didn't really want to be close with anybody, let alone God. I didn't want to be close with God. I didn't want to be close with my parents because I was like, nothing's working out. And I don't feel like I'm connected with God or anyone in that sense. I think I went to church camp that year. That was my last year. And a lot of people were like, are you coming back next year? And I was like, I would have to go as a mentor, and I don't know if I can deal with all y'all kids. But I was kind of bummed out because it was a really great experience going to Oklahoma and being able to see how God is moving in everyone's lives. Mm-hmm. Even if I felt like he wasn't moving in mine, I knew, like, seeing that really did help me in a sense. Like, if he's moving in theirs, he can move in mine. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not too far off. I think when I had moved out, I was like, okay, I really need to start working on my relationship with God because my relationship with everyone else is failing. Like, it felt like a lot of my relationships were failing. Mm-hmm. Like, my siblings and my parents, I just didn't feel connected with anybody. Mm-hmm. And then when I stopped going to group, I stopped talking to Adriana, which was really disgusting of me because I shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. She was really close to me. I was really close to her. So I need to start praying. I need to start reading my Bible. And I did. I started reading my Bible all the time. And even though I didn't understand, I would still write down what I thought he was saying to me. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend. I don't want to say his name, but he's really faithful to the Lord. And he's a big part of, like, my inspiration, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, when the Bible says you'll know a person by their fruit. Mm-hmm. Like, he was one of those people. And I was like, I want to be like him. I want to have faith like him. I want to have a relationship with God like him. Mm-hmm. And so he started sending me his Bible studies. And that made me feel like, okay, I should send in my Bible studies. And so I did. And we did for a while. And then our friendship kind of faded. And I guess that's what made me stop reading my Bible as much. I was still working on it. Mm-hmm. Just not as faithfully as I was before. I had gotten into a relationship with a guy, and it kind of pulled me away from God. Mm-hmm. Because I would always put my relationships with a significant other above God. And I noticed that after we had broken up, I was like, I'm literally drifting away from God. Mm-hmm. Putting my attention on this person, and he's hurting me. I was like, I can't take it anymore. So ended that. And I was like, I need to start focusing on God, because I had told the guy. Like, I feel like this is really destroying my relationship with God. Like, you're not bringing me any closer to God, and I'm not getting any closer to God myself. Faithfully reading my Bible again and praying again. But at some point, I started worshiping on the worship team, and then I stopped. And it kind of felt like I need to start again, but I need to strengthen my relationship with God before I do that. Because I don't want my heart to not be in the right place if I'm up here leading people in worship and, And so I started to read my Bible more, and I started to pray more and talk to my friends about God. And a lot of my friends they would listen, but they weren't really encouraging. And it was kind of just like, okay, I kind of want this friendship to last, so I guess I'll just not talk about God. I think it was after I turned 19, I was like, okay, no, I can't not talk about God whenever He's been working my life like faithfully and has brought me so many good people and so many good things. I mean, was 19 with a kid and had moved out on my own with my own money. I was like, that's a blessing. Who do you know can do that at 19? Especially with my past. And I was like, and so I told those people, like, I need to take a break from our friendship. And I did. And they weren't like hurt or anything. They understood.
Yeah, that's probably hard at your age to find those godly relationships.
Yeah.
Just because you're around, you're not in school anymore. You may not be in a workplace that you can find those relationships, but plus having a child, you didn't have all the freedom of seeking those relationships.
Yeah.
So that probably was a little bit harder because those weren't really adding to your life any at all, it didn't seem like.
No.
Not the life that you were seeking to have.
Yes. They were good friendships, but not ones that grow you closer to God. Just kind of worldly friendships.
Right.
I didn't want to be worldly anymore. I didn't want to desire what the world wanted.
So let me ask you something. So you've been through a lot as a child growing up in a house that was broken and maybe a parent that wasn't exactly taking care of you. What would you say to someone that's going through something like that right now?
I think you just need to find God. Like, I know a lot of people say, you can't find God, God finds you. But if you're not searching for something like God, then you're not going to really find Him.
Well, He draws us to Him through His Holy Spirit, and we have to accept Him. But you're right, that's especially in somebody's in a foster home, just like you had some that did not go to church and you don't think believed in God or didn't speak of Him. That would be a good thing to encourage them to do, just like you said.
Yeah, you kind of have to lead yourself to get in the Bible and start reading and try to find some friends that go to church. Build that friendship with them and go to their church.
Yeah.
Or just start reading your Bible, because there's a lot we can learn.
Yes.
From that alone. Just giving your life to God is not easy. Everyone knows that, but when you get there, you'll know that He'll do it. He'll work on you, and your life will prosper.
So since you've been adopted, two of your sisters were adopted by Jamie, and then you have a brother that was adopted by someone else in our church. Mm-hmm. You really get to see them all the time.
I see my sisters a lot. I don't really see my brother. And when I lived closer to them, I seen my brother a lot too. But with him being in sports, I don't really see him a lot. And me working all the time.
Right.
But I see him some now.
Well, that is kind of neat that all of y'all are in the same town.
Yeah.
And really in the same church.
That was my biggest prayer when I moved here.
Yeah.
Was to bring my siblings to me.
Because you were the first one in Wynn, right?
Yes.
And then they came after that.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you see yourself doing moving forward with everything that you experienced? I know that you were part of a group that was helping another guy that was in foster care that was adopted, that was 18. Mm-hmm. And y'all were just really trying to walk him through being an adult. But you and some other people were in his life doing some of that. I don't know that worked out, but do you see continuing doing something like that in the future for you? Or
if I have the opportunity, I will. I think it's good to have a younger person in your ear saying, like, you can do it. Like, it's possible.
Right.
It's not. It's rough, but it's possible.
Yeah. Because it's the same, that situation is the same as yours.
Yeah.
He was adopted as I think a teenager, and then just maybe didn't have the determination that you had, moving out on your own and getting a job and taking care of everything.
Yeah. I kind of had a responsibility to do that.
Yeah. Your daughter helped you make sure you did that.
My daughter grew me up, I guess.
Yeah.
You could say.
Yes. She did a good job, by the way. Yeah. Renee, do you want to say anything else before we go?
So in the end, I do read my Bible all the time now. And I do pray all the time. Like I was saying, I pray in the car. I pray when I eat, when I wake up, when I brush my teeth, in the car, at work.
Because if we're not close to the Lord, it's not because he moved away from us, right?
Yeah.
It's usually because we've either been distracted and moved away from him, or we've got things in our life that are keeping a barrier between us and him.
Yes.
But he's always right there, regardless of whether we can feel him or not. But our closest to him sometimes depends on what we're doing. Not that he's ever going to leave us, but we won't have that closeness unless we do those things to draw close to him and be in the middle of what he's doing, in the middle of his will. Yeah.
Kind of like what Jeff said when he preached. I think it was Jeff or Dustin. I don't know. One of them said you can't be 50-50. It has to be 100-100.
Yeah.
I can't. He can't just keep doing the work. And I'm just like, God, why are you not?
Yeah.
You know? And I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
Right.
No, I have to work on it too.
Yeah. Well, in a relationship, it's a two-way street, isn't it? And so you have to both be, and we know that the Lord is already working, and we just have to meet him where he is.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Of course.
Thank you for joining us today. New episodes release every Wednesday, so be sure to subscribe and get notified when a new episode is available. You can listen on the Journey to Salvation website, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcast. So, where are you on your journey to salvation?